colors seem to move differently in that shop. Or maybe not ours. Maybe only you move differently there. Slower, kinder to yourself, less ready to hurry on. After some time, the old woman rises and goes once more to the shelf of letters. This time she brings you a blank envelope and a sheet of cream paper. We usually do not ask, she says, but sometimes people like to leave a few words before they go. Not for me, for the next tired person. You look down at the paper, a little uncertain. What would you write? What would anyone write? But then the room is so quiet, the lamp so soft, the tea so warm in your hands, that the words come more easily than expected. Perhaps you write, "If you are here tonight, I hope you do not rush yourself. I hope you let this room hold you for a while. I hope you stop apologizing for being tired. I hope you remember that gentleness is not a reward, it is a need." Or perhaps you write something even simpler. You are allowed to rest before you are completely worn out. That would be enough, more than enough. The woman does not read what you write. She only takes the folded paper when you are done and ties it with a narrow ribbon, then places it on the shelf among all the others, as if it already belongs there, as if it has joined a quiet conversation that has been going on for years. One tired soul speaking gently to another across time. By now, the night outside is very late, the kind of late that feels almost unreal, the kind of hour when the world seems half asleep and tender. The woman glances toward the window. The rain has stopped, she says. The air will smell lovely now, and somehow that simple sentence makes everything feel even softer. You finish the last of your tea, and for a moment you do not want to leave, not because the outside world is terrible, but because this place has reminded you of something precious, something people forget far too easily, that kindness changes the texture of life, that small comforts are not small when they arrive at the right moment, that tired hearts do not need to be fixed immediately, only held gently. The old woman seems to know you are thinking this. They always worry the street will vanish when they leave, she says. Does it, you ask? Sometimes, for a while, but it returns when it is needed. And that answer is so beautifully strange that you accept it without argument. When you stand to go, the blanket slides softly from your lap. The candle burns low. The bell above the door waits quietly, and the woman walks with you to the entrance. Before you open it, she reaches to a small dish on the counter and places something in your palm. A tiny silver key, old and Sometimes people need an object, something their hands can hold when the world feels sharp again. Keep it until you no longer need to be reminded. And because this is that sort of night, that sort of place, you close your fingers around the key and whisper, "Thank you." Her smile, then, is the kind that stays with a person. Not bright, not dramatic, just deeply kind. As you step outside, the air is cool and sweet with rain. The stones shine under the lanterns. The whole little street seems to glow softly behind you. And for a moment you stand there, listening. The town is very still. Somewhere far off, the sea moves in the dark. A window closes gently. A cat slips under a gate. The world does not look transformed, and yet something is different. Or perhaps someone is. The tightness in your chest has eased. Your thoughts are quieter now. You're breathing slower, as if the night has placed a warm hand between your shoulder blades and said, "Easy now, easy." You begin to walk back through the lane, past the ivy wall, past the tailor's shop, back toward the sleeping square. But when you turn once, just once, to look over your shoulder, the little street is harder to see. Not gone, not exactly, just folded back into the town somehow, like a page carefully marked for later. And I think that is how such places survive, not by staying visible to everyone, but by appearing only when they are truly needed. Now, stay with me a little longer, because the story does not end when you leave the shop. The best part comes after. In the days that follow, you carry the little silver key in your pocket. Sometimes, without thinking, your fingers find it on trains, in waiting rooms, at red lights, on quiet afternoons when you feel the old pressure returning, and every time you touch it, something inside you remembers the lamp, the chair, the rain at the window, the words on the envelopes, the woman saying, permission to soften, permission to pause, permission to exist without performing. And slowly, almost invisibly, you begin to change small things. You drink your tea while it is still warm instead of forgetting it on the counter. You sit down before you are exhausted. You stop treating rest like a prize you must win. You let certain messages wait. You open the window sometimes just to listen to the evening. You light a candle for no reason. You speak a little more gently to yourself in the dark. And perhaps one night, weeks later, when someone you love looks more tired than they can admit, you make them something warm. You lower your voice. You sit with them without trying to solve everything, and without realizing it, you pass the street onto them. Not the place itself, not exactly, but the feeling of it, the softness, the permission, the kindness that asks nothing in return. That is how these things travel, I think, from room to room, from person to person, from one tired heart to another, until the world becomes a little more livable, a little more tender. Now the room around you may be very quiet. Perhaps you are already drifting. Perhaps your eyes are heavy. Perhaps the story is loosening at the edges, becoming softer, becoming dreamlike. That is all right. You do not need to hold every word. You only need the feeling of it. The little street, the warm shop, the old woman with kind eyes, the lamp glowing beside your chair, the rain at the glass, the letter telling you that gentleness is not a reward, it is a need. And maybe tonight, before sleep takes you fully, you can imagine that somewhere out there, in some old town by the sea, that little street still exists, waiting quietly for the next person who has carried too much for too long, waiting with its warm windows, its patient kettle, its chair that understands, its shelf of letters, its room upstairs under the roof, waiting without urgency, without judgment, without noise. And if one day you need it again, truly need it, perhaps you will find it. Perhaps it will open for you the way all good things do, softly, at the right time. Until then, you can keep a small part of it here, with you, in your breathing, in your hands, in the way you let yourself rest, in the way you remember that softness is real and still possible and still waiting. So now let the story settle. Let your thoughts quiet down. You do not need to go anywhere else tonight. You do not need to finish anything tonight. You do not need to become anything tonight. Just breathe slowly and rest. That is enough, more than enough. You are safe here. You are warm here. And for this little while, you may put everything down. Good night, and sleep gently.